So the protests in Nabi Saleh have been going on since December of 2009, a movement that's called the popular resistance. Popular resistance is usually used to mean not armed resistance. So, it began in the Second Intifada when people in other parts of Palestine were fighting with bombs and machine guns, and in certain villages they decided that the most effective way to achieve their goals would be to just march without weapons. And that's what they do in Nabi Saleh. So every Friday after the midday prayer, people gather in the town square, and usually there's some kind of theme to the demonstrations, which basically means they're chants, or slightly different week by week. And they attempt to march to the spring. In the now almost 6 years that these have been going on, they've made it to the spring once. I was fortunate to be there on the day that happened. But usually, before they come around the bend in the road, Israeli soldiers are there waiting and greet them with tear gas, with rubber-coated steel bullets, and increasingly with live fire. This has meant there have been many dozens of injuries in the village, many people arrested, many homes damaged, and 2 of the young men in the village have been killed. One of them was the younger brother of Neriman, who I mentioned earlier. So it was trying to figure out what exactly it meant to keep fighting a battle you knew you could only lose and that you could only win by losing more. And despite all of those odds, to keep fighting, knowing that like they weren't going to end the occupation, these the several dozen people that turned out every week. They weren't even going to make it to the end of the road. But despite that, they kept doing it. And it was to figure that out and to try to understand what could make people keep fighting in that way that made me want to keep going back and write this book.